I still can hardly believe that Joseph, sweet old Joseph, was Maya's kidnapper. He says he planned to kidnap Brady with the idea that Simone could use her Hollywood connections to save the theater. But when Maya entered the dressing room, he panicked and grabbed her instead. Plan B was to stall the demolition long enough for the Historical Society to declare the building an official landmark. I guess he's been at the Royal Palladium for so long, he just couldn't imagine his life without it. But desperation aside, poor Joseph wasn't cut out for a life of crime, and pretty soon things were spinning out of his control. Simone's publicity stunts didn't help. At least he was courteous and kind to Maya through the whole thing. Her testimony should help him in court. The good news is that the Royal Palladium is still standing. Once he heard that Nicholas would inherit his grandmother Louisa's 50% of the theater, Brady decided he'd better find another site for Planet Tinseltown. In order to make amends for things, and because he needed some good publicity, Brady donated his half of the theater to the St. Louis Historical Society. Together with Haddett, they should have this place restored to its original glory in no time. Not such a happy ending for Simone, I'm afraid. She received an official reprimand from the National Press Corps for her stunt with the wreath. Still, knowing Simone, she'll be back at the top of her game in no time. So, here ends the longest 3 days of my life. The premiere of Vanishing Destiny is back on, but I think this detective is going to wait for it to come out on videotape. Talk to you soon. Love, Nancy. I'm trapped. I've got to get out of here.
I've got you, Nancy. You're cornered. You might as well give up. Ah! Ah!
Soon as I get out of here, I'm going to call the police, Elliot. So don't bother making plans for tonight. Or the next 10 years. Dear Ned, after trapping Elliot, I managed to pry the exit open and had Harlan call the police. Elliot admitted to stealing the carousel horse and planning the remote control device. He knew that publicity from the hauntings would increase the value of his forgeries. Needless to say, he's gone back to not liking me. Harlan, on the other hand, adores me now, because not only did he share the credit for busting Elliot, but his sudden fame brought him 3 job offers. He's staying on at Captain's Cove out of loyalty to Paula, but he's happy knowing that being an ex-con will probably never be an issue for him again. As for Ingrid, she promptly attributed Elliot's bad behavior to a deficiency in some mineral I couldn't pronounce. And Joy, when I gave her the picture of her mother, she started smiling and has yet to stop. Inventing Miles was the best thing her late father could have done for her. In fact, when I went to the park to say goodbye just now, she wasn't in her office. She was riding the carousel. Ever yours, Nancy.
I beg you, Hermes, bring her back to me.
Dear Demeter, it is out of my grasp.
Think carefully, girl.
Hades, take her away!
Sorry, Xenia. There's been a last-minute script change.
Have you lost your mind? Let her speak, daughter.
A daring art heist will not be seen in this evening's production. Instead, a killer, mastermind, grifter, and lost artist will tell the tale of how they almost stole an entire collection of rare art.
She's lying!
That's for the audience and the police to decide. Hermes, how does this story end?
In some versions, the dark forces of the underworld prevail, but not today.
Dear Ned, the world premiere of Persephone in Winter was surprisingly well received. Although now that most of the cast is in custody, I doubt there will be an encore performance anytime soon. After initial investigation, authorities now believe Xenia began selling stolen art during college. You could say she was something of a prodigy, I guess. Through connections she made selling stolen art, she was eventually introduced to Kronos, and by extension, Thanos. From there, the heist took shape. Xenia orchestrated the operation, and Thanos scared off anyone and everyone who would get in the way. When Melina couldn't be chased away, she was sent on a wild goose chase to track down jewelry that had never gone missing in the first place. The only hitch in their production was, well, me. The outcome of Xenia's trial is still unknown, but I have a strong hunch we're going to be in for a very long winter. Thanos was taken into custody along with the rest of the cast, but it appears he did actually have some friends in the local police force. He's on the network's radar, and they hope to bring him to justice soon. Gregor is currently serving time for his part in the attempted heist. With Thanos on the loose, jail may be the safest place for Gregor to be. He wrote me to say he's spending his time setting aside the many characters he's played, and for once focusing on the man he'd like to become once he's released. If the rumors I heard about his plea deal are to be believed, I'd say he's off to a wonderful start. Niobe admitted her part in the heist and was sentenced to probation and work release. Although she won't admit it, Niobe firmly believes Gregor's plea deal led to her light sentence. She may have lost her place in the art world, but it seems she's finding her place in the real world. For Melina, it turned out that a foiled art heist is the best possible way to advertise a new exhibit. When the crowds came, Melina was ready, and Life in Ancient Greece was a resounding hit. Attendance levels are at an all-time high, and Melina couldn't be happier. After leaving Greece, I met up with Frank and Joe, and we concocted a heist of our own. I can't share all of the details, but it involves smuggling out one of Emerson's priceless Nickersons during semester break. I could tell you more, but I'd hate to ruin the surprise. Love, Nancy. P.S. I'm serious. Pack a bag, unlock your windows, and burn this letter immediately. Ha! I knew we were getting close. Today just keeps on getting better. Chief, I've got something you need to see.
Nice job, Nancy.
Could no longer contain the darkness inside herself. In a desperate act, she set the night sky ablaze. Perhaps we'll never know what caused Nancy Drew to strike the match that forever changed this town. But one thing is certain, River Heights will be a safer place with Nancy Drew behind bars. With a heavy heart, we must forever say goodbye to a former hero and look bravely. Excuse me, I'm in the middle of a broadcast.
Brenda Carlton, you're under arrest.
No, this isn't happening. You can't do this. Get your hands off of me. You don't want to mess with me. I've got dirt on all of you. I could ruin every single one of you.
Yeah, that's a risk we'll have to take. Back to you, Jim.
Dear Hannah, Brenda was right about one thing. Her broadcast did make it all the way to the national news. Just not exactly the way she had intended. Not the type to let a little thing like a prison sentence get in the way of her ambition, she's already started working the weather news desk at Heights Regional Correction Center. I'm sure she'll work her way to the lead anchor desk during the next 10 to 20 years. While Tony had nothing to do with the fire, she did show her true colors. As the details of the case emerged, public support for Tony fell to an all-time low. Tony quietly removed her name from the ballot, but remains behind the counter at Scoop. It'll be a while before any of us go out for ice cream again. To everyone's surprise, the time capsule survived the fire. And sure enough, when it was opened, J.P. Bennington's so-called stolen property was recovered. After decades, Alexei was finally vindicated. Dad is working on formally pardoning Alexei of all wrongdoing. For once, Alexei seems pretty happy. When I asked him if he's interested in being a detective again, he said, never again. But he did say he would be happy to help anytime. Deirdre is still Deirdre. She's throwing a post-clues challenge party this weekend. Not surprisingly, Ned's been invited. And not surprisingly, Bess, George, and I have not. Not that we go anyway. The town hall is set to be demolished soon and replaced with a new museum celebrating the history of River Heights. Word is that Alexei may be asked to be head curator. Now that I've been publicly exonerated, the town has really started to show its support again. My neighbors have gotten together to repair our window, and my house is overflowing with notes of support and baked treats. For me, it's just nice to no longer be public enemy number one. As the winners of the Clues Challenge, I got to choose what to place in the time capsule. I'm pretty happy with what I chose to put in there. If you think about it, you'll be able to figure out what it is. Or you could always wait 50 years until it's reopened. Finally, I couldn't have gotten through everything without help from the best friends a girl could have. And, of course, your wonderful gift basket. Can't wait to see you. Love, Nancy.